Welcome back. Today, we are diving into, well, attention I think every single one of us understands. That huge, sometimes infuriating gap between who we want to be and well, who we actually end up being. You know, we set goals, we make commitments, we genuinely know what's good and right, but then we find ourselves failing again.
Right.
So our deep dive today is really trying to tackle this. Why does high intention, even really strong commitment, so often just fizzle out? Why do we fail?
And the source material we're looking at today jumps right in. It kind of bypasses the usual philosophy and asks you, the listener, to just consider this, maybe uncomfortably. Are you actually a normal person?
Okay, wow, that feels, loaded. What does normal even mean here? I mean, if I'm, holding down a job, generally functional, not breaking major laws, I'd probably tick the normal box, right?
Well, that's exactly the point. The source's challenge, relying on that societal definition of normal. That's apparently where the paradox kicks in. Because what society calls normal is often just, well, abnormality that's become commonplace, normalized abnormality. And they use this really striking example from Taiwan, the fraud and scam groups.
On the Zapianji Tuan.
Exactly. So think about the person running the scam. What's their basic motive? Simple, right? To make money. Zuan Kan. But now think about the victim, the person who gets pulled into that dodgy investment or the classic foreign military officer's romance scam. Mm-hmm. What was their motive when they first engaged?
Probably also to make money. Or find love, which maybe involves money.
Often it boils down to wanting something, maybe getting rich quick, or finding that perfect partner who happens to need money.
Precisely. Often it's also Zuan Kan, maybe just through a different, more naive lens. So the root desire may be greed, maybe just aspiration for a better life, but a strong desire for gain, it can be identical. Okay, wait. I think I see where this is going. The desire is similar, even if the method's deception versus perhaps naive trust are worlds apart.
Right. And if that underlying desire, that relentless pursuit of gain, is something society generally encourages or at least accepts as normal, then how do we really draw the line? Is the fraudster abnormal, but the victim who maybe let greed cloud their judgment, are they normal? The sources point out that when this kind of unchecked desire or even wrongdoing becomes really widespread, it just gets normalized, becomes the standard, the fine sect, a really powerful bridge. Because we see that normalization of questionable things out in the world, but then Paul, writing to the Romans, basically says that same kind of abnormality gets normalized inside us too. So we've kind of established that looking outwards for normal is tricky. But then Paul, this is Paul, spiritual giant, hugely experienced, he confirms this internal messiness in his own life. Why admit that? That really is the shocking part, isn't it? He's not writing this as a new convert finding his feet. This is mature Paul, years into ministry. And he lays out his own internal struggle with these three, honestly, quite startling confessions. He admits to this profound lack of self-control, starting with something he calls ignorance.
Ignorance. Yeah. But that seems odd, Paul. No. Ignorant. He knew the law inside out. Is that just false humility?
It's not intellectual ignorance. He says, what I do, I myself do not understand. It's more like he doesn't grasp why his actions default to the wrong thing, even when his mind knows better. Like the scam victim might say afterwards, I should have known better, but I don't understand how I fell for it. That kind of ignorance, it hints at maybe dodging responsibility, but it's deeper than that.
Okay, and then the second point hits even closer to home for most people, I think. That split, the intention versus the action.
Yes, helplessness, wunai. He describes this chasm between his will and his actual deeds. His mind wants the good, the white hat action, but his body, his actions end up doing the black hat thing, the evil. He literally says the good he wants to do, he doesn't manage, and the evil he hates. That's what he ends up doing.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Like deciding, right, healthy eating starts now, and then somehow finding yourself with a spoon in the ice cream tub at 11 p.m. Feels like self-betrayal.
Yeah.
The sources call it a split personality, right?
Exactly like that. And this feeling, this helplessness, leads him to his third and probably most controversial point, shifting the blame. After admitting ignorance and helplessness, he says the root cause isn't really his conscious self making bad choices moment by moment. He knows the law, he wants to follow it, but he keeps breaking it. So he concludes the real culprit is sin. So living inside him, influencing his actions. It's not just him choosing badly.
Whoa, hold on. So he's not just saying, I struggle with bad habits or I lack discipline. Mm-hmm. He's diagnosing something deeper. Like there's no inherent goodness lying, Sean, in his own basic human nature, his flesh. The desire for good is there, yes, but the actual power to pull it off isn't.
That's it. And it's fascinating because he's essentially challenging the whole foundation of, well, self-help, willpower, even just strict rule following. If the intention, the mind is good, but the result is bad, it implies the whole system, the operating system, is flawed. He's separating his conscious intent from this indwelling force.
Right, and this is where it gets really, really interesting for me. Because now he's not just talking about personal failings or habits. He starts describing this unseen force, like a law na, that's always working against him.
Exactly. He stresses that he tried hard. The desire is there, but the execution isn't. He found that whenever he set out to do good, evil was just present, right there with him, acting like, as you say, an invisible force field or a magnetic pull. He calls it a law.
A law, like gravity. Something that just is, whether you like it or not. You can't just decide not to be affected by it.
That's the power of the analogy. It's this constant background pull. He calls it the law of sin. And it's constantly wrestling the source, uses the image of a tug of war, against the other law, the law of God, inside him. There's a great analogy used in the source material to explain this. Imagine you drive a left-hand drive car, like standard here. But you suddenly find yourself driving in, say, Japan or Thailand, where it's right-hand drive.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Well,
my brain knows the rules. Intellectually, I'm saying stay left, turn right from the correct lane.
Exactly. Your mind fully intends to follow the new law. But what does your body do? Your ingrained habits, the law programmed into your muscle memory, it keeps reaching for the gear stick in the wrong place. Maybe you instinctively jerk the wheel the wrong way, turning a corner.
Yeah, you could cause an accident.
Yeah.
Even though you consciously know the rule and want to follow it. I've felt that with things like learning a new keyboard layout or even a musical instrument. Your fingers just do the old thing.
Precisely. That instinctual conflict, that betrayal by your own ingrained patterns, that's a perfect picture of these two laws fighting inside Paul.
And that's what makes him cry out, "Wretched man that I am." Or, "Indicaton." He feels trapped. The sources use this image of a faith zombie.
Yeah, it's snark, isn't it? Like someone who desires life, desires good, but is trapped in this body, this system, that keeps defaulting to death or sin, unable to freely live out the good he wants. The suffering described is really intense, like agony.
And this internal battle, this struggle for control, it wasn't just theoretical form. It plays out dramatically in his personal life, too, with the thorn in the flesh he talks about. Same paradox, right?
Absolutely. And looking at the context of the thorn really deepens this. I mean, this is a man who had had incredible spiritual experiences, taken up to the third heaven, heard things he couldn't even repeat.
Right. And the thorn, whatever it was, a physical illness, some kind of persistent pain or opposition, which he also calls a messenger from Satan, was given to him paradoxically to keep him from getting puffed up about those revelations.
So here's the conflict laid bare. Paul understands intellectually why the thorn is there. It's from God, ultimately, to keep him humble.
Right.
Yet, what does he do? He prays 3 times, begging God to take it away. He acknowledges God's purpose, but his human desire for relief, for control over his own comfort, just keeps fighting against it. It's that core tension again. Human will versus God's will.
So how on earth does he break out of that cycle of knowing what's right, wanting it, trying, failing, feeling wretched, maybe even praying against God's known will? It seems like an impossible loop.
It required a complete shift in perspective, a real aha moment. The sources summarize it brilliantly. I was right, then I realized I was wrong.
He was right in realizing the solution, the escape from this cycle, could only come through Jesus Christ. That was the correct answer. Like knowing 3 + 3 is 6. But he was wrong about the method. His mistake was thinking he could achieve victory by doubling down on his own effort, by trying harder to follow the law of God in his own strength.
So the error wasn't aiming for the wrong goal, goodness, but using the wrong tool. His own willpower, his own striving according to the law. Exactly. Trying to conquer the internal law of sin by using his own resources, his personal sovereignty, was precisely what kept him trapped, because that effort itself was operating under the flawed system. The real breakthrough came when God answered his prayer about the thorn, but not in the way he expected. God said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness."
Right. That's the absolute heart of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ultimate counterintuitive truth, what the source calls AK, paradoxicality, strength found in weakness. those are polar opposites.
They are, and this flips the world's logic on its head. The world says, exert more control, try harder, be stronger, that leads to mastery. But Paul discovered that path just leads back to failure because it relies on your sovereignty, your control, which is the very thing that's flawed. It just normalizes the struggle, the sin.
Wait a minute, so actively trying to be a better person through sheer discipline and effort? That's actually part of the problem.
Yep.
Well, that goes against almost every self-improvement book or motivational speech ever.
It's the core paradox. The fundamental error, according to this view, isn't the desire for good itself. It's holding on to personal sovereignty, Zuquan, over achieving that good. The moment you insist, okay, I've got this, I can do this good thing, I will control this outcome, you're actually being driven by that inner desire, maybe even that tanleon, that subtle greed for righteousness or control, which inevitably pulls you back under the influence of the law of sin.
So the very act of me seizing control, trying to master my own righteousness, that is what puts me back under sin's control. That's mind-bending.
It is, and the Christ-centered approach, this Heking, turns that completely around. Think about the examples the sources might point to. God, the ultimate power, dying like a criminal. The Messiah washing feet, loving enemies, turning the other cheek. These actions seem illogical, weak, even wrong by worldly standards. But that's where the power lies.
Which means the only true solution is to give up that fight for control, to surrender the sovereignty, to actually embrace the paradox. I have to become weak so that I can become strong.
That is the absolute key. When I am weak, then I am strong. It's about surrender. Letting go of the illusion of self-mastery allows Christ's power to overshadow you, to protect and guide you. The source uses the term hubi, like being sheltered. So the Christian life, seen this way, isn't about finally achieving perfect self-control and eliminating the conflict. It's about living in a state of acknowledged weakness and dependence. Surrender.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the final takeaway for us? It sounds like Paul's struggle, his agony, wasn't actually a sign of failure, but something necessary.
Essentially, yes. That intense suffering, that bitterness he felt, it was incredibly valuable. Why? Because it forced him beyond his own abilities. It drove him to deep reflection and ultimately to dependency on God. The sources suggest that people who don't feel that intense internal conflict might actually be worse off because they could be completely unaware, totally ignorant of the depth of sin's influence within them. The struggle itself is what leads to true self-knowledge and the need for grace.
So the goal isn't to become a master of ourselves, but maybe more like becoming a child again. Dependent, trusting, accepting that on our own, we remain fundamentally ignorant and powerless against that inner law.
Exactly, letting the Father lead, as it were. So if genuine strength is truly found in admitting complete weakness, in surrendering that personal drive for control, here's something to really chew on. Think about where you might be focusing intensely right now on personal achievement. Maybe it's getting that promotion, winning that argument, finally mastering some difficult skill or discipline through sheer force of will. How might that very focus on your control, your striving, inadvertently be blocking Christ's power from fully working in that area of your life? How might letting go, paradoxically, be the path to real strength there?